Steve here. Thank you for joining me for another episode of No BS Reactions. This is me digging into some music I don't already know and telling you what I think about it. I think you know what reaction video is about. I think you know how the game is played. So when I started adding reaction videos to the content on this channel, one of the first artists I looked into and reacted to was M.anifest, a rapper from Ghana. I had no familiarity. It was a name I picked off somebody else's reaction video because I had no idea who it was, and I was interested in finding out because if there's one area where my knowledge and experience with music is very, very weak, it is rap and hip-hop. I'll admit it. This is it. I've been around for all of it, but it's not something I got into, and certainly I have no idea what's going on in modern-day stuff, and certainly not by artists out of Ghana. So I was curious, and so this is my third, fourth time getting back to him, suggested by one of the viewers out there. I failed to write down who, so forgive me if it was you. I didn't think far enough ahead. So the song today is B.E.A.R, B-E.A.R. I'm spelling it because that's kind of the way it's written. I have no idea if there's significance to that or not, but it's off his 2016 album, Nowhere Cool, which kind of sounds like where I am usually, but anyway. So that is what we're going for today, digging a little further into the works and catalog of M.anifest out of Ghana. And I'm curious to see what this is because I think some of the stuff I listened to before was a wee bit older. This is something newer from him, which I don't know what that means. I don't know how his style may or may not have changed in the intervening years. I don't know if he's added something different to his repertoire, but we are about to find out. So here we are, B.E.A.R, M.anifest. Buckle up.
All my gents let my die, but they lie bad. Now here's some hard bars for my diehards. I'm a lion hearts, why should I lie in my art? Gonna rap Moses, now let us see parts. I see green, I know the sea stop. Tell our bros to never see top. So just beat it, king of pop. I've been dope, call the doc, let's detox. I know Bob, but it's check life, let's converse. 2 packs of Machiavelli, I bomb first. I know they talk missiles, drones and funk flex. It's all really simple, I'm complex. So tell all the drums that I'm bar heavy. Bar after bar, get your shots ready. A nice flow, expose flows, I show off. ECG, watch me go off.
Check the score. Play to win, yeah, and break for a draw. No. I'm not playing ball. They closed the gates, I found an open door. Yeah, check the score. You be true, no the rush. Play to win, yeah, and break for a draw. No. I'm not playing ball. They closed the gates, I found an open door. Oh yeah. I'm not.
Okay, so starting right off here, what happened is, yes, indeed, it seems that M.anifest has added a few different twists to this than I am used to hearing from him. He's usually been a bit more chill. I remember the one song being very kind of poppy and bouncy, but here we start off with this kind of electronic flourish. As best I could say at the beginning, honestly, it may sound weird, but what was coming to my mind was Miami Vice. Was the opening theme song of Miami Vice at that moment. I almost want to go back and check that out because it's, where are we at here? All right, so we're going to go back, start this over. I see if, I'm going to play this again, see if I still hear that.
All my gents let my die, but they lie bad. Now here's some hard bars for my diehards. I'm a lion heart.
Messing with me. So, yeah, it keeps popping out of full screen. I don't know why it's doing that all of a sudden. Dude. Anyway, so, yes, I go back and I hear that it does remind me a lot of the very opening tones in Miami Vice. I don't know why, but it's definitely different than I've heard from him. And as opposed to other things that kind of reminded me more of a loop, maybe a sample. That I'm not hearing here, but it might be. It just might be my lack of knowledge of the music that he's pulled from. I don't know. And based on what I'm seeing, I kind of believe that the young gentleman with the drums and the horns and all that are, in fact, the horn section that kicks in, which again takes me back to the 80s a bit. Things that Phil Collins was doing with the Tower of Power horns, with Genesis and in his solo work, is kind of what that pulls me into as well. So I could be sampled horns, it could be synth, but I'm imagining we're seeing these guys because they're actually playing it. They're not just quote unquote actors or models playing them for the video. Though I don't know, but I do dig it. It's pretty cool, punchy music. It's not what I'd quite call pop, not exactly upbeat, but it has a kind of driving feel to it, kind of charging forward and got a bit of power behind it, a bit of punch to it, a little bit of jazz kind of thrown in there, the horn section, all that. So this to me, among most of the rap I've heard, is some of the coolest music I've heard so far. So I like that. And getting into the lyrical stuff, one thing I've kind of noted about M.anifest is the tendency for him to pull in phrasing and stuff that I don't recognize, which I imagine to an extent some of it is Ghanaian slang that I wouldn't necessarily know. You look at the first verse and it's I don't even think the letters are like they're stylized, looking almost like symbols more than letters, but Omo Dwen Samada. I have no idea if I pronounced that right. I'd have to listen to it again. I'm just trying to read. So I don't know what that is. That could be Ghanaian or some other African dialect. I do not know. And there's a bit more of the same kind of bravado that I've heard expressed in rap. And again, the feel to it is that this is developed, if not, I don't know if they put it on tape first time that way or if it's just developed as a freestyling. And so, but I like his turn of phrase here, Ghana rap Moses now, let the C part, kind of cool, especially if he's coming up with that off the top of his head. Tell rap dwarfs they know, go see top. I'm guessing rap dwarfs, it just means people that are not big deals in rap as opposed to actual little people. So again, he pulls out some slang and some phrases that I'm not familiar with, but I think I am understanding and following. But again, it's kind of along the lines of here that, he's doing the thing of beating the chest and self-promoting and expressing bravado, which again, at times, somebody correct me, I've understood as part of freestyle anyway. It's people trying to top one another like a dance off or to rap off or whatever you want to say. I kind of like he throws in there the I know board, but it's Chuck Life, let's Converse. I've got to think that's a play on the sneakers, Chucks and Converse. I don't know because I don't know what Chuck Life is, so I could be wrong. He throws in Machiavelli. I'm still not saying that right. Machiavelli. There we go. Talk like you talk for a living, Dave. But yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And then he does some singing, which I'm sitting there thinking, I don't think I've really heard him singing. It's maybe not full-throated, blaring out singing, but at the very least, rapping with more of a sense of melody. But somewhere in there, but actually he's pretty good. He's not half bad. And then he throws in some words in there and phrases that I don't recognize. Yen pre for draw naw. I do not know what that is. But I guess it's quite possibly simply some slang native to where he is. So I get lost with it sometimes once in a while. If anybody knows out there, feel free to fill me in. So going from there, let's get into the second verse. Let's continue with B.E.A.R.
Oh, yeah. A nice flow, it gets scary for Judge Derry. You fit to ask the bread knives and brown berries. All the real heads know they cannot bump heads. So rappers go hear this and feel hurt. Y'all so emo, you can't say I'm chemo. Universities even pay for my keynotes. So even when I quit rap, I won't be broke. Y'all made me do this, y'all made me do this. All of my mentions like I ain't the truest. Been doing this since my days in the US. Now I do shows, all the bass be like you just. So nice, with words, and your baritone, it works. Boy, better know. Shout outs to Frisco. M. Dot, you be too much. You do everything, hear the streets talk. Do I have the fire still? Silencer on, it's a quiet kill. Pope John flow, that's a pious feel. Got a man, name one that's better than. None. Charlie, check the score. Play to win, yeah, pray for draw. No, I'm not playing ball. They closed the gates, I found an open door. Yeah, check the score. You be true, no do rush. Play to win, yeah, pray for draw. No, I'm not playing ball. They closed the gates, I found an open door. Oh yeah. You fought mates, you never hear nothing like this. I was late to the party, now I have it lit. I brought the climax, I found the clit. Forget about glitz, grime and grits. No, they take shots, it's who the shoe fits. Inspiration and I are buddies, we click. Bring all your crews, bring all your clicks. The devil's in the details, 666. It's a juicy day with my hair, Juicy J. Do my dead by my lonely, treacherous way. It's hip-hop, hooray, by Afrobeats, high love, let's do it our way. Like play, we are innovators, stop the kwache. I will leave you a legacy, so let the drum roll. Kudos to the youngins like drum roll. You can shape the feature, tell them I said so. Fresh flows, Festo's the best though. Maka, you knew from get-go. B.E.A.R, case closed. Our base, you already know. Don't ask me no questions, fika nacho.
Okay, I think I just found one of my favorite rap lyrics of all time. That is, sorry. Oh my God, yeah, that is a cool tune. That's a good bouncing, fun tune without being sugary pop or anything like that. It's not the usual kind of chill I've heard with some rap stuff, where it's more of a loop that's lo-fi hip hop. It is definitely it's got kind of a strong tune to it. I like the inclusion of the horns. I like the electronic end of things. As far as lyrics go and content and what the topic is, it's fairly standard. But I gotta say, when he starts off, you have to admit you never hear nothing like this. I was late to the party. Now I have it lit. I brought the climax. I found the clit, dude. That's awesome. That's a great turn of phrase right there. That's some bragging you don't normally hear going on in anything. I don't know. You might hear it more in rap. You don't hear it in the circles I'm normally in, but I thought that was pretty damn good. And if that's off the top of your head, that's well done, sir. Kudos. Well done. I like that. And again, he throws in some more stuff that I'm certain has got to be, again, Ghanaian or an African dialect of some sort. I have to admit not being educated enough to know what language or languages are typically spoken in Ghana. So I'm behind the curve on that. So there's some places where he loses me, but nonetheless, you know what? It's good, accessible stuff. It's got a nice jam to it as far as the electronic / again, somewhat retro in my head. That may just be me when I think of the Miami Vice thing a little bit, because, as I'm trying to replay that in my head at the same time, it's really not there, but still, it's got that kind of tension to it that I'm feeling. And then when you add in the horns, it pulls me more into like this 80s retro thing again, like I said, with Phil Collins and the Tower of Power horns and all that. But among the things I've heard, this ranks really highly. He really pulls out some nice rhymes and some nice turns of phrase that are very impressive, especially if they were done on the fly as part of a freestyle work. Again, I don't know how these things are ground out. I'd be curious if somebody could ever share with me someday. Is any of this done live in the studio? I'm inclined to think no. I'm thinking it's worked out more along the lines of, and this is probably a weird way to think of it, but similar to a comedian who has ideas in his head and puts it out there, probably not necessarily live, but puts it out there somewhere and then works it live to refine it to come out with something that in the end is keeping the best stuff that was done as improvisation, but then at some point in time adding some other things in later to come up with a final composition, which in many ways is not necessarily unlike a lot of what is done in terms of musical composition, where maybe some guys get together and jam and they put together some nice ideas and then they flesh those out and refine them into eventually to be complete songs. So, it's entirely possible I overthink things at times. That's me. But I am kind of curious how they put all that together and then in my head to eventually memorize it. But when he adds that and then he adds the singing and everything like that, to me, that's the strongest song of his I've heard. That's the most memorable, and that's the one most likely to make it onto a playlist of mine out of everything. So I'm actually quite impressed with this one here, and I don't mean to say that like I'm surprised, but I'm surprised in myself that by how much this one strikes me compared to others that I've heard up to this point. So I can see why there's a lot of admiration for M.anifest. So very cool. So, hey, that's what I got for you at this point in time. If you like what I'm doing, I'd very much appreciate if you could hit the like and do the subscribe, follow along. Normally, I'm talking about Prog and related things like that, so hopefully you're along for that journey with me. If you enjoy it, great, beautiful. Check me out on the social media. The links are below. And if you want to check out my Live 365 channel, The Expanse, where it's nothing but progressive rock and progressive metal all the time. And on Sundays now, we've got the Brain Salad Sunday, which is all 60s and 70s classic prog to check out. So look for that. If you want to look into my older interviews, you can find all those on podcast format. Anywhere you find podcasts, just look up Bleeding Edge Interviews. Check it out. You can see all my wonderful interviews with the elites of the prog world. Very cool stuff. My most recent, Steve Hackett, long time ago of classic Genesis, but he has been an exceedingly productive solo artist on his own. So that was a very cool thing for me to be able to do. Very much enjoyed it. So here we are. Never be afraid to deviate from the norm. Keep it froggy, and it's a Super Dave signing off.